Alright, here are some Dragon Ball Fighters. I know you're seeing the title of the video and you're wondering why am I talking about MK1 when I'm playing Dragon Ball Fighters, okay? And it comes down to a personal reason that I will explain in a second, but it will make sense, you know, it will make tons of sense. So just listen up, you know, and if you haven't, you know, if you're not a fan of Dragon Ball Fighters, but you know, you play MK1, just watch this video and watch the gameplay, right? Everything is gonna make sense, you know. If you haven't really seen Dragon Ball Fighters, everything is just gonna make so much sense in a second, okay? Trust me, trust me. There's a reason I'm not playing MK1 for the MK1 video. One of the reasons is that I don't want to play the game right now, and the other reason we'll get to in a second. So, I recorded this video about a week ago, and I don't know, I didn't upload it, you know, because I didn't want to do it too close to the Street Fighter 6 one that I made, and a lot of people, really got the wrong idea from my Street Fighter 6 one. They weren't really hearing what I was saying, they were just kind of hearing what they want to say, or what they want to hear, but, obviously, that's just how it's gonna be when you make this type of stuff, you know. A lot of people weren't really hearing my points in Street Fighter 1, and they were kind of just saying their points over my points when they didn't really have any direct correlation. So, you know, I kind of held off on doing this one a little bit, but you got to really realize that's just how it's going to be no matter what you say, you know, even if you're saying 2 plus 2 equals 4, someone will find a way to make you act or pretend like you said something different than that, you know. So yeah, I made some good points of Street Fighter 6. The problem is that Street Fighter 6 is a really good game. So because it's a really good game, it has this really kind of weird defense force around it, where it's kind of just like, yo, this game is perfect, and you're kind of just wrong. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, some of the stuff I was talking about was my own opinion, but I made it make sense, you know. It wasn't like I was just saying random stuff. But with MK1, I feel like it's a little different. You know, Street Fighter 6 isn't bad at all. It's just in a really awkward, stale state. They're not fixing anything. They aren't really adding, you know, really fun or impactful characters to the game, you know. The base roster is a very safe base roster. It's not a very good roster. It's just a typical Street Fighter roster, although the new characters are a welcome addition, you know. But notice everything that I just said right there, I didn't say, oh, the game is bad, you know, or this is a bad thing. It's just a very safe thing. They're playing Street Fighter 6 very safe with how the meta goes, and the release of characters, and the base roster characters. It's all very safe stuff that they're doing. Never said it was bad, but I will say that it's affected my will to play, because nothing is exciting really right now in Street Fighter 6. You know, there's nothing to look forward to. I mean, you cannot lie. If you're a fan of that game, there is zero stuff to look forward to, right? Meanwhile, with MK1, it's a bad game, right? If you like MK1, you literally cannot deny that it's a bad game. So I feel like people would maybe not be as hostile when it comes to this, because you know, Street Fighter 6, critiquing a good game is pretty hard when everyone's defending it, but critiquing a bad game won't be that hard. And why would I call MK1 a bad game? Well, let's get that out of the way, in case you don't know. So, number one, it does have good gameplay. It has better gameplay than MK11. It does have good gameplay, okay? Now that that's out of the way, let's get to the bad stuff. A bunch of cosmetics, and the best cosmetics, are locked behind real-life paywalls that you cannot get for free. Which is, they've never done that before. That's a first-time Mortal Kombat thing. Fatalities are locked behind paywalls. They added a Halloween fatality to the game, yeah, they added a Halloween fatality. It costs $12 to buy, and you can't get it for free. So it's like the monetization is disgusting in that game. It was really poorly balanced. You know, I mean, it still kind of is. You know, Cyrax was disgustingly broken, but the method that they used to nerf Cyrax was not the way. And what I can tell you is that if, judging by the Cyrax nerf, if the future of the game is going to be like how that Cyrax nerf is, it's going to turn out to be a very boring, lame game. If that's how their mindset is going to be for every patch moving forward. You know, just completely obliterate something and don't do anything in return. Just completely get rid of it. So, yeah, bad, you know, broken balancing that's not really fun to play against, but then when they balance it the wrong way, and they just completely get rid of it. So now that's just one less thing you can do in the game. So we have all that. We have 0 single-player content. The game has half of the single-player content that MK11 had. Over half. The game also has, you know, Mortal Kombat 11 had hundreds of free cosmetics. This game only has a few, and then it goes away. And then all the cool stuff is in the shop for real money. And yeah, like, people unlocked all the cosmetics in MK1 within the first week, and they haven't added anything since. So, yeah. And the game is almost 2 months old. So, yeah. Game is, by definition, it is a bad game. I would say it's a 4 or a 5 out of 10. I gave it a 7 in my review because the microtransactions did not start yet. So, you know, the game was still lacking content. It wasn't great, but it was, number one, obviously Cyrax wasn't really found then. No one really knew how good Cyrax really was. And number two, the microtransactions did not exist yet. All the microtransactions at that time were for things that you could get for free already. So, yeah, no one really knew how bad it would get. No one would expect them to sell fatalities, which they've never done before, right? So, that's kind of why I'm not playing MK1, because number one, the gameplay is pretty fun for the most part. There are a lot of problems though. There is no content to do outside of online matches. If you do not play online matches, you cannot play MK1. So, there is a story mode that'll last a few hours. When that story mode is done, there is nothing for you to do. And it's a $70 game, by the way. So, no content unless you play online, which obviously that wasn't that big of a deal for me because I do play mainly only online matches in most fighting games. I play only online. But let's get to the online. It has the worst netcode out of any modern day fighting game. It has one of the worst rank systems. It has no room matches, which by the way, room matches were in Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe in 2008. And they've been in every single NetherRealm game since until now, so no room matches. And it has extreme skill-based matchmaking. And here's the problem with that, which I have ran into. So, the NetherRealm community is the most toxic fighting game community there is. The amount of things that I have been called on voice chat is just, it's just saddening, you know, it really is. And mainly, I'll tell you the Mortal Kombat 1 online cycle, and I swear to God this is 100% true. So if you're learning a new character in Mortal Kombat 1, here is the cycle. So you're playing casual, right? And casual has skill-based matchmaking. Here's the problem with that. So let's say you're going 500 and 400, right? 500 wins, 400 losses. You're going to get matched with people who have similar win-losses, right? Here's the problem. It doesn't matter what character you play. So the other day, I was actually learning a new character, right? I was learning a character that I haven't played before. And I was playing casual, but it doesn't matter because casual has skill-based matchmaking. So I was getting matched with people who were the skill level of my main character, right? Like, they were playing their main, but I was playing a character that I was using for the first time. So, I end up beating him, right? I end up beating him. And he ends up taking the second match, right? So we only played 2 matches. I won 1, he won 1. Remember, I'm using a new character for the first time. And he's using his main character, right? So I beat him. Then he beats me. He beats me, he starts teabagging, and he turns on his mic. And he says some of the most vile stuff I've ever heard. And he leaves. So, score ends 1-1. I can't even do the run back because he left. There's no mute option, by the way, because they added an option to mute players in the game, and I have proof of this because I was testing out the mute option when that happened, and it didn't work. I heard him perfectly fine. It is the most toxic community in fighting games, right? And because of the way that matchmaking works, you're going up against these toxic people who think they're like really good at the game, but in reality, you're just, you're trying a new character. You can, flame this guy. I mean, that was technically my 4th or 5th character away from my main. So, like, this guy could get smoked, and he wins, and he gets really toxic. And then he leaves. That wouldn't have happened if there was no skill-based matchmaking in casual. And yeah, I mean, that really demotivates me to learn a new character, because it's just like, well, these people are really toxic, and they really do think that they're like the greatest guy on the planet, and they say some horrible stuff. And there's no option to report people, by the way. You can't. I promise you, if you could report people, that guy would be permanently banned on PlayStation Network. Like, I swear it was that bad. But you can't report people in Mortal Kombat 1. You can't. There's no report option, and there's no mute option, because the mute option that they added to the game in a patch does not work. So, yeah. What I'm trying to say there is that the game has no content, and the online doesn't even work, because you can't learn a new character. Once you get a main and you get good with that main, that's your account. Everyone you fight is going to be the skill level of your main character. So you can't just load in the casual and fight people of random skill levels. No, you're fighting people that are your skill level or slightly higher. No matter who you're using. When Omni-Man comes out tomorrow, I'm going to be fighting people who have been playing, Baraka Cyrax since day 1, even though, he's kind of nerfed, but, you get my point. Yeah, and obviously that enables, like, a lot of toxic behavior, because it's NetherRealm games, the Mortal Kombat community is terrible. So that's why I haven't been playing the game, because there's, like, no content in the game. The game has some of the most disgusting microtransactions I've seen in a while. And you can't even simply hop on the game online and enjoy it, because there is severe skill-based matchmaking in casual. So, and you can't just go to room matches, because there are no room matches. So, yeah, and the really toxic environment that game has, it's really hard to learn a new character. When you're fighting your skill level, it's just a tragedy. So, I mean, the game is a solid 4 or 5 out of 10. I mean, they've gotten everything wrong. I mean, you couldn't even tag moves in the move list until last week when the patch came out. You couldn't even mute players until last week, and guess what? It still doesn't work. The mute player option has not worked for me yet. So overall, I mean, I understand people getting defensive about Street Fighter 6 because it is a good game, you know, and, you know, I wasn't trying to discredit that. But Mortal Kombat 1 is the bare minimum of a video game. And it is the worst fighting game to be released on the PS5/PS4 generation. You know the game isn't on PS4. I can't think of a worse fighting game to be released for $70 that just has the bare minimum, you know. I mean, it almost has as much content as Street Fighter 4 did when that came out in 2008. Like, so, yeah, that's the state of MK1. That's why I'm playing Fighters, because Fighters, and I probably should have said this earlier, the reason I'm playing Fighters is because this is what I thought MK1 was going to be. I thought MK1 was going to be the Fighters of Mortal Kombat. No. So, you know, you're watching this. This is what, even though Mortal Kombat is not a team-based fighter, it's an assist-based fighter. You know, you can't change characters. This is what an assist-based fighter should be like. This game did everything right. You know, it didn't have much content either, but it released 2 characters at once. Every time a DLC character came out, 2 DLC characters came out at the same time. Mortal Kombat 1 can't even release Omni-Man and Tremor on the same day. They're staggering the release dates. Omni-Man's going to come out 11 days before Tremor. And Tremor's not even a playable character. DragonBallfighterz would release 2 playable characters at the same time. This is what a crazy assist/team-based fighter should be. That's why I'm playing it here, in case you've never seen this game, because this game is crazy. And my hope was that MK1 would do the same thing for me that DragonBallfighterz did. And it's not, because it's just so frustrating to even play the game. It's so hard to, you know, through the casual skill-based matchmaking, you know, the training mode is very lackluster. All that stuff, it's just like, wow, like, it's the bare minimum. And the reason I wanted to make this is because, you know, I was holding off on it, but the combat cast happened like an hour ago, and they didn't address any of these problems. It was the first combat cast since the game came out, and none of the things that I was talking about have been addressed. They haven't announced any new things besides paid DLC characters. So I feel like this is my time to talk about this, because I gave them a chance with the combat cast, and they didn't say anything. All they said was, "Oh, we will keep updating the game." That's all they said. But this game needs a lot more than just simple updates and balance patches. So it is tragic. It is real tragic. So let me know how you feel about MK1. And like, subscribe, and peace.